Hello, welcome to Return to Self. My name's Alana, and if we haven't met before, then it's lovely to meet you. Today, I pulled out 10 cards and just asked the universe what it needed us to know at the moment. The first that I pulled out was alternative medicine. It's just an image of a couple of fairies, I think it is, standing over mushrooms and flowers. Interesting because this is the second time that this card has showed up in a reading. While I'm reluctant to say this, especially working in mental health and understanding issues in relation to alternative medicines and that people try alternative medicines, I very much believe that this is probably linked into the next card, which talks about mental repetition. From what I do understand, they can help you change your thinking, change neural circuits in your brain, especially if you have a habit of negative thinking, ruminating a lot, and things like that. They are saying to me that these can actually help you to learn to go with the flow a bit more. And they're also saying to me as well that in combination with these alternative medicines, utilize breathing techniques as well. If you're interested in it and you're wanting to, definitely have a look at some breathing techniques. Next card that we had after that was mental repetition. And as I said, I think that for some of you, you have been stuck in negative thinking. I feel it's been a repeat cycle as well for a lot of you. They're saying to me that this is happening as you come into your gifts. It's a part of that healing process, if that makes sense. Coming into your gifts can be quite a intense process to go through. There's a lot of wisdom that you gain through this process, but it's also a lot of work, a lot of sort of mental work, a lot of sort of work in relation to the third eye and things like that. And I guess that those mental patterns can kind of prevent you from coming into your inner peacock, if you want to refer to it as that. The peacock is such a beautiful creature. And I think, in essence, that this is a reflection of you and your own gifts. Next card after this, we have Seek Seclusion. And basically, I think that this is just indicating that you need a rest. You really need a bit of a break at the moment. I think, especially leading up to Christmas, I know not everybody may have that much in the way of holidays and things like that at the moment, especially if you're working or just got a lot on your plate at the moment. But I definitely think that a break could be worth your while. And the reason for this is because you have been healing so much. I really think you need to give yourself some time to kind of regenerate in that sense. And I do think as well, a period of rest will actually help you to see aspects of yourself that are still needing to be worked on, healed, if that makes sense. Things that you may not have seen previously. They're also showing me a crown. Crowns to me always come in reference to power battles or inner power. So you might be getting some sort of illumination around power issues and things like that. Or perhaps just illumination around your own sense of power and how you're using that sense of power at the moment. I feel like some sort of vacation, even just a short sort of trip away, preferably out in nature if you can, would be really beneficial for you at the moment. The next card after this, we have boundaries. And it's interesting because the peacock has showed up here. And what I can see is an image of a peacock with what looks like a compass, I think, or a watch in its mouth. And what I can see holding the peacock is a woman that's dressed in white lace. And I think that this is basically telling you that you are transforming through shadow aspects, things that have kept you downtrodden in a sense. And you're now having to evolve into this peacock. Peacocks are a bit of a show off. Obviously, they've got beautiful feathers, and the way that they hold themselves is very sort of flashy. Either you are really needing to do this work because what you're doing is time dependent. So you may be needing to come into this sort of intuitive kind of psychic side of yourself for a particular reason, a particular time. And I feel like that time is coming up quite quickly. What I can see on the other side in the corner of my eye is a harp. I feel like this is just illuminating those heart energies that have kind of been blooming in you. I think that you are really coming out of yourself. If you don't feel that way just yet, I think you will be coming into it shortly. This is all to do with heart energies. This is a very pink looking card. I think that you're just being guided down this heart path. My guides and the angels and things like that have been talking about. And it definitely involves that combination of using your heart and using your intuition as well. So, if you are feeling like the work that you are doing is time sensitive, there's probably a good reason for that. You're probably intuitively picking up that you are needing to do this work because of some specific reason, which is going to be individual to each of you. What I do get a sense of with this is that it's very likely to be in relation to that sacral chakra kind of energy as well. So I would probably associate that with your life purpose, if that makes sense. I think it's about doing whatever brings you joy. I definitely think that whatever you're meant to be doing is something passionate. They are showing me a swan as well. So I think it's about coming into your graceful swan like self, if that makes sense. I am also seeing a little cherub angel that's coming through as well. Maybe this is talking about connecting with your more childlike aspect. And funnily enough, there is actually a cherub here in the background too. I'm not 100% sure what cherubs do, actually. They don't really come to me that often. Like I said, it could just be about connecting with your inner child and doing things that bring you a sense of joy and happiness, I think. Okay, so the next card after this, we have sensitivity. I think at the moment you guys are feeling particularly sensitive and not just emotionally sensitive. I feel like you're very sensitive to energies at the moment. So I suspect that this is probably why you've needed to spend a lot of time away from other people. I think that you have been doing so much healing work that you have very high sensitivity at the moment because you're working on or have been working on the heart space as well. You've been in a space where you haven't really been able to be around dense kind of energies as much. And I think you will continue to see this heightening of your sensitivities during this period of time. I do see that your aura is starting to extend out further. It would be really good if you could spend as much time as possible at the moment out in nature. I think that nature is really helping you to clear out your aura, but it's also helping you to connect with those earth-based energies. I think there's a real need to kind of connect with woody type areas. So going for walks in sort of forests, rainforests, anything like that. If you live in sort of more cottagey kind of type areas, just going for the walks through the woods and be particularly beneficial for you. Underneath that, I pulled out some tarot cards. And the first one here is the King of Pentacles. So, the first thing that I was drawn to with the King of Pentacles is that this king looks rather unhappy. I think it symbolizes the fact that you're kind of sick and tired of this whole healing process. What I want to emphasize with this card is that the king is holding up a pentacle in his hands. And I feel like your guides and angels and things like that are sort of suggesting to do this work so that you can come into greater prosperity. I think that is done by basically coming into your heart center and by focusing on living your joy, living your life purpose. Card underneath this was the Five of Swords. And funnily enough, I also pulled out the Seven of Swords as well. It came straight after that. So usually the Five of Swords are suggesting a sort of a period of conflict and things like that. So some of you might have experienced a bit of conflict. You could even be experiencing mental conflict. It can also talk of dishonesty and things like that. It could be reflecting the fact that you're not being entirely honest with yourself, or perhaps you've been in a situation where there's been a bit of backstabbing or underhanded things that have gone on. There is a rabbit in the background here too, and there's also a lot of kink energy. So I suspect that a lot of this conflict and disharmony and things like that has actually acted as a signpost for you in terms of what direction you to head down. I think it's been an indicator to you that the energies that you would like to be around and the energies that you don't. And also just that gentleness and timidness as well that you naturally kind of possess. But my eyes are also very drawn to a bunch of stars that are around this rabbit as well. And to me, it feels like you're kind of in touch with intuition and things like that, that other people don't really understand your frequency. I think you're probably quite different to other people, and that you're probably very misunderstood, or just find that you don't relate to a lot of other people. And I think that that's just because your energy is rare. It's not a common energy to find. And I think as you're coming into yourself, you're needing to free yourself of those denser energies that probably just no longer resonate with you anymore. As we evolve, as we transcend frequencies and things like that, we have to change our outer environment to reflect who we are internally. The next card after this was the sun. So, what I'm seeing in this image is some sort of god or something like that riding a horse. The sun is obviously that really fiery energy. I get a real sense of determination and purpose with this card. It's definitely a strong energy of pursuing your ambitions. So I think that you are definitely moving into calmer kind of waters as we move out of December shortly and into the new year. I do think that you will probably start to notice changes. I am getting the words clarity as well. So things might start to become clearer to you in terms of your life direction. Might be feeling a little bit lost at the moment. I think sometimes those periods of feeling lost are just kind of helping you to determine what you kind of do and don't want in your life. I think that there's a time and a place for those energies at times, not in stagnancy, but just sort of where things kind of don't move. I often think it's when, the universe has lots of plans to put into place, but that takes time here on the earth plane. Sometimes you just need to let everything fall into place, before opportunities can come through, basically. Next one after this, I had the Wheel of Fortune. So basically, the Wheel of Fortune refers to fate and destiny and things like that. I definitely feel you're moving into a much happier, brighter chapter towards the new year. They're saying to me that this is because you are starting to use more of your intuition, which helps to create those opportunities. And also stability as well is what I'm sensing. I can see a sign here that looks like a number, kind of like four. Fours for me always represent stability. It's interesting because an image of the three fates here as well, which were meant to be three goddesses that were associated with destiny and things like that. But I also see a man in the background here who's holding on to stars or looking at stars. So I think it's also about how we create our own destiny as well. I think that this is very much about you having made sort of decisions and choices that have helped you to manifest this life that you're wanting to live. The next card after that, we had the Six of Cups. And basically, Six of Cups sort of refers to inner child issues and things like that. But I think in terms of this card, I feel like this is more talking about you having come into a place where you have started to kind of accept yourself a lot more. I feel like all of the healing work that you have been doing is based around self acceptance, embracing your intuition and your gifts, allowing yourself to bloom. And I think with that can come that sort of sense of vulnerability, but also a sense of gentle inner power. I think that you have kind of separated yourself from a lot of other people and have begun to kind of accept yourself, accept your giftedness, perhaps even your own quirkiness and things like that. And you are now starting to see the value in that, I think, which I don't think you did previously. I think previously you sort of felt like you were a bit of an outcast. And that's changed, I think, because of the work that you have been doing. If you're not feeling that way right now, I do think that you are moving into this energy. And I definitely get the sense that you are being guided through this process. All right. Well, I hope that this reading has helped you in some way. If you've got any comments, thoughts, ideas, or anything like that, please leave them down in the comments section below. And please like or subscribe if you're finding these channeled readings useful. All right. Thanks for that. See you next time. Bye.